Well, hello everyone. You join me on a terribly cold and snowy day with the 2022 Lincoln Corsair Grand Touring. Now, I have tried out the two other variants of the Corsair previously, the 2-litre engine and the 2.3-litre engine, and I've gone on record in saying that I believe the Corsair is secretly the best product that Lincoln makes. Yes, the Aviator and the Navigator get a lot more attention, but for a vehicle that really feels at place against its competitors, I think the Corsair is something that shouldn't be overlooked. Now, the Grand Touring version of this, just like the Aviator, isn't a trim level, it's the plug-in hybrid variant, and with this model being based on the Ford Escape, it also has a plug-in hybrid version, but the Lincoln is interesting in the way that it offers all-wheel drive, and the Ford, for whatever reason, doesn't. Maybe it should be noted that there is no normal hybrid version here with the Corsair, so maybe Ford is trying to have some mutually exclusive benefits to each product. So with this vehicle, we have a 2.5-litre engine, naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, 2 electric motors, and a 14.4 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack. Combined, it makes 266 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque, which both numbers are less than what you can do with the 2.3-litre turbo engine. This comes with an eCVT. The transmission for the typical Corsairs is an 8-speed automatic, and it should actually be noted that with this plug-in hybrid, you can still tow up to 3,000 pounds, just like you can with the 2-litre and the 2.3. Now, if you're a regular at this channel, you've maybe seen some of my other hybrid or EV vehicles in the past, you know that I'm all for the electrification of vehicles, and I find typical hybrids interesting, and I like the best of both worlds dynamics to plug-in hybrids. And I'm really going to just be focusing on the hybrid capability of the Corsair. If you want to see any of my other thoughts, be sure to check the 2 videos that I've linked in the comment section of my previous experiences with the Corsair. So with the benefits of a plug-in hybrid, you still get everything that you would come to expect out of this. You have quiet EV driving for up to 45 kilometers, and you're able to recharge the battery not only through regenerative braking, but using the 2.5-litre engine as a generator. So there's a mode called Preserve EV, where if you want to have EV driving later, maybe you're doing highway driving where the EV range would be expelled pretty quickly, you can be driving down the highway and charge up the battery, just like what I'm doing now, as I've got all the heat being blasted into the cabin, and I'm sure I would kill the battery range quicker than I would like to. Then you have the pure EV mode, as you would expect, and it will keep you in EV for as much as it can. If you mash your foot into the throttle, then it will still engage the regular engine. And the EV capability of this is quite strong. I had no issues at all getting up to speed on an on-ramp to join a highway or any major road with this Corsair. Yes, like I said, if you really push it, you will spark the engine, but you don't have to be so careful and so gentle that you make driving for everyone else behind you a misery. You can get up and go in EV mode, I'd say, with very little worry. Apart from that, what's the rest of the driving dynamics like? Well, I think there's a fair amount more body roll here in the Corsair than what I remember previously. This does weigh 600 pounds more than the 2.3-litre engine, and you do have reduced cargo capacity and passenger volume, and I will put the numbers on the screen so you can see where you are going to be losing some interior volume here with the Grand Touring model. Steering might feel a touch heavier than what I remember, but it still has not the best road feel. It is a little bit numb, but this is a compact SUV at the end of the day. Don't think I can really get upset about that. And this might be one of the best applications of a CVT that I have ever experienced. I'm flooring it right now to just get up to highway speed, and it really fooled me for a couple days thinking it was a traditional torque converter automatic, because you'll hear the engine, it's a little gruff, and I actually wonder if like some sound is being pumped in as like a bassy note to make you think it's meant to be this kind of edgy four-cylinder. So the engine's a little loud, and because of that you can clearly hear each shift, and they're very quick, they're very subtle. It feels honestly like the best CVT I have encountered because of its refinement. And when you push on the throttle and you really get going, it doesn't have that rubber bandy effect that we have experienced for so long. But it looks like car manufacturers have figured this out. They've implemented that kind of software so that we don't have to experience that sensation anymore. So that's brilliant. Well done to you, Lincoln. Brake feel isn't too bad, but I don't think the best I've experienced in a hybrid or any kind of EV. You will have that sort of breakover point where the regen is working or the physical pads and discs are working. There was a couple times where I was parking this up in, you know, a parking stool or a parallel parking, and when it was in EV mode, it felt a little herky-jerky. I felt like it was very hard to get a consistent roll in and out in pure EV mode, so just be cautious of that. And so from a driving experience alone, because I'm all for what plug-in hybrids have to offer, I am all for this Grand Touring. It starts at about $10,000 more than the top trim version of the normal car, and when you add a fair few options to it, it does inflate the price significantly. But that's no different up against the competitors in this class: the X3 plug-in hybrid, Q5 plug-in hybrid, the Volvo X6, the Volvo XC60 T8, and the new plug-in Lexus NX. Most of them sit around the same price point that the starting price of this Corsair is. The Q5 though is significantly more money, but that I think is because they put in many of the options that you would be optioning up in this and in the Volvo and in the BMW. And maybe you live in a part of the world where there is a benefit to buying a plug-in hybrid. Maybe you get a rebate from your local or federal government, so there's that to consider as well. A couple other quick notes before I end. I find it interesting that there's no descriptive badging that this is the Grand Touring or that this is a plug-in hybrid vehicle. You have blue text on the Corsair name and the badging, but outside of that, you really don't give anything away that you're in a plug-in hybrid. And if you refer to my other videos, you'll know that I think quite highly of this cabin. All the ones I've tested out have actually been really well built, and this might be the best one yet. I think the sound system's fantastic. Ergonomics all around are very good, and you don't lose the sliding rear seat with the smaller volume for the second row back there. So there you go. Not too much that I felt like I needed to say here for this plug-in hybrid, but it does what it's meant to do, and I think it does quite a good job doing so. And as I said at the top, the Corsair is, I think, the best product that Lincoln makes. So thank you very much for taking the time to watching this video, and please do refer to the other two reviews I've done with the Corsair, as I'm fairly confident I may not have addressed everything that you would want to hear about this product. So have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you again on the channel soon.